Hello, it's me, Aaron, and today I wanted to discuss the main problem with Dark Souls 1, its second half. I don't know about you, but as soon as I got the Lord Vessel and every playthrough I did since finishing the game for the first time, I just stopped playing. But why is that? The second half of Dark Souls 1 has already been widely regarded as just horrible by a lot of players, but I haven't seen a lot of people really explaining why. And that's what I'm going to do today. Talk about everything the second half of Dark Souls 1 and try to discover why the game is so much worse than its beginning from this point on. Alright, well, let's begin. So, first of all, since we just saw Guinevere, there's just no reason to continue. We've just experienced the best the game has to offer in this very room. So yeah, anyways, thank you for watching. No, but seriously. So, first of all, yeah, we just got the Lord Vessel. And the Lord Vessel means fast travel. And I personally think that fast travel really ruined a part of Dark Souls. Backtracking. It just takes it away entirely. There is no more of that after you get the Lord Vessel. And unfortunately, also in every other Souls game. No more being relieved to get out of a dangerous area like when you got back all the way to Farning from Blighttown. No more getting lost and finding your way anymore. And if there is, it's on a much inferior and smaller scale. Like, honestly, it really takes away a lot from the difficulty of the exploration. Like, when you made your way deep into the catacombs, with every step, you knew that you had to do it all again, but to come back. But now you can just, fuck it, just go as far as you want and just TP back with a bonfire. That's just lame, what the hell? And, like, exploration in this game is so important. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people die to areas more than they die to most bosses. The exploration is a part of the difficulty and just one of the best things this game has to offer. But fast travel isn't the main reason for Dark Souls 1's second part being so horrible. Even if you disabled fast travel with the Lord Vessel, the second part of the game would still be bad. And like, fast travel isn't the only thing that ruined exploration. One of the other main flaws of the second part of the game is that it simply forgets all the connectivity. It's no longer organically intertwined levels. It's just 4 random points you couldn't go to before earlier in the game. You just have 4 hallways to go through that connects to nothing else. A part of the level design has been abandoned. For a more basic, go fetch those 4 totally unrelated things. Fucking great. And the 4 areas of the Lord themselves are extremely underwhelming and just reached a new low in Dark Souls, like just worse than anything we've visited before in the game. And now, let's just go through those 4 areas together, from least worst to the most terrible, to see with our own eyes how deep the madness goes. Alright, well, let's begin with New Londo. New Londo is the only good area out of the 4, and I could argue that it's not even like in the second half of the game, since, you know, you can go to it before the Lord Vessel, but I'll still talk about it for a bit, since most players experienced it after getting the Lord Vessel. But anyways, New Londo. It's really unique and really harsh. You need an item to even be able to hit the enemies that can go through walls, and you can pretty easily fall down to your death. There's no bonfire since, well, the area has been flooded, so I mean, it makes sense. And then you make your way to Ingwood, it gives you a key to be able to unflood New Londo, you do so, and the second part of the area gets unlocked to fight Dark Wraith, which are probably the best and coolest night type enemies of the game. But you also fight those pile of, I don't know, goo? What? And then you get to the 4 Kings, which are a pretty great DPS test. So, I mean, it's a good area. It has unique gimmicks, a great atmosphere, challenging enemies, and a good boss. So, I mean, yeah. But now, let's get to the nasty stuff. So, the Grand Archives. After 2 hallways with those balls from the Upper Undead Bug, you arrive and you notice a pretty big problem. The enemies. The enemies of this area are really mid. The main thing you'll be fighting are those hollow reskins, they're just hollows but look different, or more tanky, and do a fuck ton of damage. And that's the only reason they're really a problem. That is bad. Like, this is a bad challenge, because it only comes from the stats of the enemies and nothing else. Then there's channelers that will boost even further those crystal fucks, but they themselves are fine. It's just that in this massive gank of overpowered crystal hollows, they're just one drop of goodness in the sea of trash. Then it's just a few crystal golems that will really not be a threat at this stage of the game, a few neutral moonlight butterflies because why not, I guess, those weird squid things that are really squishy, and then a few ash lake clams. So overall, it's just really underwhelming. Strong reskins for the wrong reasons, and just enemies we already fought before. Nothing really new and really exciting on the enemy side, and the level design won't really be here to save you. It's pretty basic for like 70% of the time. And like, I mean, you just go there, get killed by Thief and put in jail, which I have to admit is a really cool sequence, and then it's just pretty boring. You fight the same enemies in ganks, get a few items, unlock a shortcut, and then go through the Crystal Cave, which I guess the invisible bridges of are nice, but nothing incredible. And then you go kill Thief, which is a awful boss fight. Jesus Christ. So yeah, I mean, it's not the worst, but it's just really basic. There's just a bit of cool stuff around, but that's really about it. The main thing you'll be doing is almost getting one-shotted by groups of buffs, crystal guys, and running around the same looking area for 30 minutes until you get to Thief, which himself is just pretty fucking bad, and he curses you as well, so I mean, fuck him. So yeah, in the grand scheme of Dark Souls 1, this is probably one of the worst areas by far. It doesn't have any heist that reaches to one of the other areas, and it would be a fine area layout-wise in Dark Souls 3 or like any other game, but not in Dark Souls 1. It's just all the same level of mediocre, so I guess at least consistently bad, and doesn't have any really low lows. It's just really average kind of mediocre. Not good, I mean, but still, could be worse. And now, for what you've really been waiting for, the real problems, the real stinkers, the Tomb of the Giants and Lost Idolus. So first, Tomb of the Giants. So, the darkness mechanic. So, not being able to see very far in front of you, requiring a lantern or a particular help to see. On paper it sounds good. It makes sense with the catacombs, and it could create a pretty stressful atmosphere and interesting encounters and exploration. But the problem is, you see, the area itself, instead of being around getting lost and finding your way out, the area in its difficulty is about just falling and dying. And that's just not fun. Just instantly dying for one mistake isn't fun. Like, I love the radicalism of the Souls games, but sometimes it's better just to be forgiving. Like, honestly, this area would be 100 times better if it was filled with ground, so that when I fall off the platform, I don't die, but get even more lost instead. One of the things that made the first part of the catacombs fun is that it was a maze to be lost in, and just making the maze even harder with darkness would have made a lot of sense as the next area, as the evolution of the first catacomb. But no! One mistake, one tiny blunder, and you're just fucking dead. But it's not just that. If you have a lantern, you should not fall off too much. The problem is also the enemies. They're all way too strong. Again, they deal way too much damage. They can hardly even be fought, and I don't think a single person watching this video has fought every enemy of some giants they came across. And more, you could argue that it's the point, that you're supposed to run away in terror. Everybody ends up running past the entire area. Like, seriously, when the main way your player used to go through your area is running past everything, you know you've made a bad area. And even if it is the point, it's still a bad area anyway. And this new skeleton dog enemy leaves you as many chances as the area does. You fight them in the dark, next to fucking death. so good luck to see and adapt to their moveset. And one mistake against them is also just fucking this! Look at this damage! Jesus Christ! The problem with this area is its layout and just how every mistake is an instant death. And it's just so unfortunate. It could have been a great area if only it was more forgiving and just kept focusing on the getting lost energy of the catacomb. Because right now, you don't even have the time to get lost, because you fucking die before you can do so. And getting to the yellow door, you enter a little area with just oh god, with just pinwheels. I mean, okay, but why? That's the thing present in all the 4 load areas. At one point, they just recycle bosses in obscene amounts. And here they clone Pinwheel. And now you get to Nito, and again, it's one of the game's worst bosses. He's super easy, barely any trouble. He's slow, he doesn't do that much damage. I mean, you can just tank him most of the time. But the real trouble here is, oh look, an army of skeleton. So what happened is, they probably noticed Nito was easy as hell, and so they just randomly put some skeletons in there. And I don't think I need to explain why this is just terrible boss design, by every standard. So yeah, that's it for Tomb of the Giants, an area with a lot of potential, but that got ruined by a terrible boss fight in a too unforgiving in an unfun way area. And now, for the worst area in all of Dark Souls 1. Lost Izalith. So, already to get to the Golden Gates, you go through a little hallway of Capra and Taurus demons. Wow! Oh my god, at least the other areas were a bit to clone stuff. But hey, at least you know what you're getting into right off the bat. But anyway, after that, a stray demon reskin! And honestly, I just don't know what to say. I mean, what do you want me to say? It's just a stray demon reskin. He just has the same boring moveset and the same stupid AoEs. After you kill him, you go through a set of stairs and fight another terrible boss in a pit of eye-melting lava. And honestly, I don't know what to say about this guy. He just slowly jumps around and predictably tries to hit you with the slowest attacks known to man. And then he just dies. You get the ring and then whoa! A massive, vacant, just empty pool of lava. Just a pointless, huge pool of eye-melting lava with random ass dragon asses laying around doing absolutely nothing. Like, what? There is nothing here to take. You just make your way to the bonfire, go through 3 little hallways, and then you fight the worst boss of the game! It just pushes you off! That's all it does! It's just torture for 30 tries! Like... okay. I get that this area isn't finished, but to fail, but to not finish something that badly is kind of insane. Izalith has nothing. No new enemies, except for those deadlining fire turrets. The layout is just a massive wasteland of dragon ass! Lost Izalith is probably one of the worst areas of video games in general. Alright, so now, what ruined the second part of Dark Souls 1 is fast travel. It ruined the part of the exploration. No more backtracking. The level design is just a lot worse and the interconnectivity of areas has been lost. The layout of said areas are also really basic at best or just as worst as humanly possible at worst. So exploration, half of what made Dark Souls 1 good, has been almost completely ruined in its second part. 90% of the enemies of those 4 areas are boring, reskins, reused, deal way too much damage, and are just not fun to fight. The 4 kings are pretty fun and a good DPS test, but the other 3 of the 4 lords are just sinks of fun. Seath stands in one spot and spams cursing crystals. Nito relies completely on his friend to even have a bit of challenge, which isn't even fun, since it's a gank of enemies you've already fought before in an empty room. In Bit of Chaos, it's just the exact opposite of a fun boss fight. Like, honestly, I couldn't have made a shittier boss even if I wanted to. So yeah, that's why the second half of Dark Souls 1 is so terrible. And I'd say it's one of the lowest the Souls series has ever reached. But despite all of what I said, I honestly didn't really notice in my first playthrough. I mean, I did, kind of, but it wasn't the unplayable garbage it is in my eyes now. So, in a way, whatever we said about them, those absolutely rushed and sadly destroyed areas from time constraints succeeded at least being there and being fun, even though that's only the case for the first playthrough. But I mean, at least we can rejoice that since Dark Souls 1, all the Souls games had the time to be completely finished. Right? Oh, they're not? Well, yeah, I guess I should have expected that, actually, yeah. Fuck, I guess. But anyways, that's about it. Thank you for watching. Your presence till the end is appreciated. And, bye, I guess.